It's back! Well, we're back specifically, but who cares about us, am I right? Hey, we got a new video for you! If you've read the title, it's a new Tales Facts video! Because look, we got a new Mothership Tales game! It's only been a little over a year, but, you know, better late than never.
This is the 17th Mothership title in the Tales of series, called Tales of Arise. Now the question is, does this game offer any new additions to the series, or does it just recycle the same old stuff that we've seen before?
And you know, Jane, I can't help but notice that you're getting a little bit more gray in your hair, and less of it.
Are you saying I'm getting too old for this?
Oh, don't worry, dude. It makes you look distinguished. It makes you look wise and regal, like the character Regal from Tales of Symphonia. Oh wait, no, he was 30, and you're like, what, going on 50? Oh, you're ancient.
Or TheBrotherhoodofGaming.com. Use the top 10 facts about Tales of Arise.
Number 10. Its goal was to revitalize the Tales of series. Development for Tales of Arise goes back a few years, even before Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition was announced back in 2018. During initial interviews, producer Yusuke Tamazawa explained that this title was a refresh of the 20-year-plus series. In order to freshen things up, the game was given the codename Arise, which indicated that it would reevaluate and evolve the Tales games. Yusuke, a producer at Bandai Namco, took over as the lead for the Tales series after Hideo Baba left the company. He also worked on the other titles at Bandai Namco, such as God Eater and Code Vein. He stated that there were elements in the series that needed to evolve in order to attract a younger audience. Now, he did get into a little bit of trouble during a 2021 speech when some took his comments about Tales of Zestiria as being the beginning of the crisis for the brand, as an attack of the previous entry. He later apologized, stating that any crisis wasn't the game's fault, or its fans, but the fault of the producer's lack of communication, and that he supports all games from the Tales series' rich past. While it would not be open world like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or, say, Elden Ring, the game would use the Unreal Engine 4 to bring new and richer graphics and improved character movements, as opposed to the in-house Tales engine that was previously used. Yusuke also assured classic fans that while they are focused on evolving and refining many core elements, those elements that they love will still be present here, and they would not neglect those loyal fans.
Number 9. The game was delayed for about a year. Now, originally Tales of Arise was supposed to come out in 2020, but Tales fans had to wait until 2021 for this game to arise. Get it?
I get it.
Producer Yusuke Tomizawa explained that a big reason why was that the pandemic slowed down development. Many workers on the game had to work on it remotely, which I'm sure for a lot of us we can understand. So with this, the team needed more time to fulfill its vision, which was to provide a new, gorgeous experience for new and old players alike. Ultimately, this turned out to be a plus for the game. After being postponed indefinitely in April of 2021, it was announced the game would be released in September of 2021. Along with that, the game would also be making its way to the newly released next-gen consoles, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series XS. By porting to these new consoles, players would be given more options on how they would like to enjoy this new adventure. It also allows the game to take advantage of new features, such as the PlayStation 5's DualSense controller, so that the gamers can feel the difference when casting different spells, as well as a smoother frame rate. So you see, good things come to those who wait.
Number 8. The game was co-developed by veterans and newcomers. Tales of Arise was developed at Bandai Namco Studios, which of course is no surprise to anyone. The game would also have a diverse crew to help develop it. Some of them have history with the series going back to the very first game, Tales of Phantasia. But there were also some more recent staff who joined the development team as well. An example is Minoru Iwamoto, who developed characters for Zestiria and Berseria. Here, he would function as both the character designer and main art designer. This was done to bring more unity within the art style. By doing this, with one person in charge of both the costumes and the appearance of the world, it gives a more unified cultural level supposedly never before seen in a Tales game. Supposedly. For the characters, the development team really strived to match the quality in them that you would find in a TV show or a film. The world of Arise was also made to be much darker, as it was done so in order to appeal to the Western audience. Because, you know, us Westerners love dark things, I guess.
Number 7. There is no multiplayer. For most of its lifespan, the Tales of series has the option of multiplayer, the opportunity to play with a friend as you journey to save the world. But not so much for Arise. And it pissed the fans off something fierce. Now historically, up to 4 players can play a Tales game, which means every character in the party can be controlled by a human player. But Arise decided to go in a different direction. The developers wanted to make a solo experience in which one person would enjoy the drama and story of the game. Fans noticed in trailers that it was a feature that was not present, and when it was confirmed by the producer that there was no plan to implement it, many began to reconsider their purchase of the game. Many fans who have traditionally played Tales games with a partner felt like they were being left out. In response, Tomizawa stated the team really focused on making a strong and smart characters that interacted well with each other. That may be all well and good, but maybe in the future they may want to reconsider that playing with friends is obviously a big deal for many loyal Tales fans. Obviously, Tales of Arise is not the first game in the franchise to be a solo experience, as plenty of games in the past has been as well. The most egregious being Tales of Legendia, as most other single-player Tales games were regulated to handheld consoles. In other news, fans of Tales of Arise have actually created a functioning multiplayer mod for PC players. Just another example of fans stepping up to deliver where developers don't. I didn't know that. Cool.
Number 6. Life is Strange was a big inspiration for the game's art style. As we mentioned before, the overall goal for the development team was to push the envelope, to really enhance and refine the quality of the Tales series. So there were times when they thought outside the box. That means looking at other titles for inspiration, or copying them. Game director Hirokazu Kagawa did not point to any other game specifically that gave him inspiration, but he did mention that he did play a lot of Dark Souls in his spare time. Well, after playing Tales of Arise, that certainly explains a couple of things, like the dodge roll mechanic that we spam endlessly. Character designer Minoru Iwamoto stated that various manga, US cartoons, and other RPGs were his inspiration. As for producer Yusuke Tomizawa, he pointed to one game in particular that made a big impact on him personally, and that was the Square Enix game, Life is Strange. He stated that when development of this game began in 2016, he was playing Life is Strange a lot. He really loved the game's art design, as it would blend between photorealism and animation. Also, he found the story to be quite beautiful and wanted Arise to have that much beauty and quality as well, with the game and characters dealing with some mature themes. It is pretty easy to see where a game like Life is Strange's influence could be felt.
Believe me when I say, you are not alone. So please, don't give up on us.
Number 5. The story takes place on 2 neighboring worlds. Tales of Arise's setting is in between 2 worlds. One is Dana, which is a medieval world, and the other is Rena, which is more technically advanced. Where have we heard that before?
Fucking rip off!
Dana is seen as a land that is rich in nature, and Rena would invade Dana 300 years before the start of the story, which gives the beginning of the game a very Ten Commandments feel, when Alphen's people are in bondage, and not in the hot way. Well, maybe. With one planet invading and dominating the other with its overwhelming technology, it helps give the world an even darker feel. However, to be fair, this is not a new concept in the Tales series, as there have been several games in the past that have used this concept to tell their stories before. In fact, you can see like Chocobos in Final Fantasy, it's one of the many reoccurring themes. The 2 main characters, Alphen and Xion, come from these opposing worlds, and at first they hate each other, but then they need to work together to achieve a common goal. But throughout the adventure, they start to overcome their differences and grow closer, which again is something we have seen in previous games as well. So while this may not be anything that original in regards to the series, it does work for Arise when it comes to the story that's trying to tell.
Number 4. Singer Ayeka made 2 songs for the game. A great deal of love and care went into Tales of Arise's music, as some well-established Japanese artists would contribute songs to its soundtrack. For example, the band Concordo Piero, forgive me if I botched that name, would perform the game's main theme song, Hibana. This would mark the 3rd time that a Tales theme would have both a Japanese and English version. But doing one better was Ayeka Idia, who would give Tales of Arise 2 unique theme songs. First is Blue Moon, which serves as the game's grand theme, and the other track was called Hello Again, a place that has been around a long time, just rolls right off the tongue. This functions as the game's insert theme. Born in 1987, Ayeka is a famous singer, songwriter, and record producer in Japan, who was once signed to Warner Music. She is currently married to actor Hiro Mizushima, who is best known for playing the main protagonist in the series Kamen Rider Kabuto. 2021 also marked her 15th anniversary of her career, which featured numerous hit songs and albums. Not to mention, she also found the time to become a mother of 2 as well. Congratulations! She is without a doubt a very talented singer, and the Tales series is lucky to have her contribute her wonderful talents to this game.
Number 3, it features DLC from Sword Art Online because, well, why not? The Tales of series is of course no stranger when it comes to downloadable content. For Arise, there is plenty to go over. But what really stands out is the DLC for Sword Art Online, as this game features some outfits from the very popular anime. Starting off as a novel series by Riki Kawahara, Sword Art Online focuses on a pair of heroes that travel through the series of virtual reality MMORPG worlds. It would inspire an animation series that debuted in 2020, as well as some animated movies. For Arise, players would have the option of purchasing the Sword Art Online Collaboration Pack. Wow, very creative, guys. Its selling price of $15.99 is pretty steep, but for it you will get the following: 2 new weapons, a new artifact that can give you a new mystic art, and a couple of arena fights against the main characters from Sword Art Online. Now, there is no story reason why these characters are suddenly in the world just hanging out in the arena. They're just there. So if you're a fan of the series, this might be a nice little extra treat that you could add to the Tales of Arise. A bonus fun fact is that this is not the first time the cast of Sword Art Online had a collaboration with Tales of series, as not long before Arise, the series appeared in the still-running Japanese mobile game Tales of the Rays, where the lead protagonists not only had their own story arc, but became playable Tales characters as well.
Number 2. The game's soundtrack uses a full-sized orchestra. When it comes to the music department for Tales of Arise, the original score was in good hands, as the man himself, Motoi Sakuraba, returned as the main composer for the game. Motoi, as we all know, has been around since the beginning with Tales of Phantasia. But interestingly enough, when he first got the offer to compose the game, he was unaware that this was a Tales game at all. He stated in an interview that even at the early stages, the graphics had an aura about them which really made an impression on him. He also appreciated the fact that this game had a more serious tone, and they wanted the soundtrack to reflect that as well. But what really excited him was the chance to use a full-sized orchestra. This had never been done before in the Tales series, as he was charged with using live performances to recreate sounds that he had made previously digitally. So, he was also a bit nervous about this as well, but they were able to achieve his vision for the game's soundtrack. Motoi would also state that the Tales of series represents such a big part of his life. I mean, how could it not? And when he is not working on a game in this franchise, he tends to get a little restless. He believes that the Tales music that he has made has set the mold for battle scores across the industry. If that is so, then the industry owes a great deal to Motoi himself.
And number 1, it would top over 1 million sales. Tales of Arise became available for purchase on September 9th, 2021 in Japan, and then worldwide the following day. According to Bandai Namco, it took Tales of Arise just 1 week to surpass the 1 million mark when it came to total sales, both retail and digital. They also stated that it was the fastest of any game of the series to reach that plateau. With this, head producer Yusuke Tomozawa states that in total, the Tales of series has sold more than 25 million in sales since its inception. The game being in development for about 5 years, Namco not cutting corners and the worldwide release, including release on Steam, were seen as the big reasons as to why it was able to achieve this. Speaking of the producer, he said in a tweet that he would consider re-releases of older Tales games if Arise sold well. He made this when he heard that for many people, Arise would be their first Tales experience. One of his goals is to bring the Tales series to a larger audience, and a bunch of newcomers being introduced to the series through Arise may be a great reason why. Many of us older fans may hold him to that, as we would love to see every Tales game getting a release outside of Japan. Whether or not that becomes a reality is still to be seen. But what is reality is the success of Tales of Arise, which is a good thing for all Tales fans. As it shows, even after 25 years, this Japanese RPG franchise is just as strong as it's ever been. And that's our list. Make sure to like and comment down below.
So, Gene, you have signed on with our new life insurance policy, right? No reason. I'm just saying. Anyway, guys, just so you know, we're back. We're still kicking it off strong. Let us know in the comments below if you want to see more Tales content. We know you do. We know we want to see it. I want to see it. You want to see it. Let us know in the comments. Do it. Go down there right now. But wait till the video is over. We like the views. And, you know, I like looking at you. Anyway, before you guys head out, be sure to visit our Teespring store where we have merchandise there for you. If you guys want to support us, if you want to support us any number of ways, there are plenty of ways to do so. You can just hit the subscribe button. You can visit our website. You can tell us in our videos how unfunny we are. It all counts. You can tell Gene that he's... be nice. And, well, hey, more Tales goodness. And don't ask us to review Tales of Symphonia Remastered. We like being alive.